Welcome back, wrestling WWE fans. Tonight we revisit a night that shook Paris, a night where history was made not through championship gold but through betrayal, brutality, and a return that nobody could have predicted. From the very beginning, Clash in Paris carried an air of unease. The lights were dazzling, the crowd deafening, but underneath it all, there was a weight, an invisible tension that seemed to hang in the air. John Cena, the face who has carried WWE through wars of eras, stood across from Logan Paul, a disruptor who represents the future. Their clash wasn't just about pride, it was about legacy colliding with audacity. Please like, share and subscribe for more WWE content. The match itself was breathtaking. Cena weathered Logan's athleticism, Logan countered Cena's veteran instincts. Each moment felt like two worlds colliding, one clinging to history, the other demanding recognition. But as the bell rang, and as Logan Paul basked in the spotlight, Cena's body told a different story. Exhaustion, pain, and the heavy realization that time does not wait for legends. For years, Cena has been the embodiment of resilience, but in Paris, the cracks showed. His heart was still there, but the physical toll was undeniable. And behind that vulnerability, the whispers began. Whispers of the past. Whispers of an empire that once stood tall under Roman Reigns, of a bloodline that fractured under betrayal, of Paul Heyman's manipulations, of brothers torn apart. Wrestling history never stays in the past. It lingers, waiting to bleed into the present. Fans could sense something was brewing. Even before the shocking moment, eyes darted toward the ramp, ears perked at every shift in sound, as if the building itself knew the night was not finished. And then it happened. The ground shook, the music hit, and the beast returned. Brock Lesnar. Half the crowd erupted, half the crowd gasped in dread, but all stood frozen. This was no celebration. This was a storm. Lesnar marched with a fury that could not be contained. His eyes locked on Cena, and in that stare, decades of rivalry and unfinished business resurfaced like a ghost haunting its victim. The attack was merciless. Cena, already battered from his war with Logan, had no defense. German suplex after German suplex crashed into the mat, each one sounding like the exclamation mark of vengeance. The Paris crowd screamed in disbelief. Some begged for mercy, others fueled the chaos. But there was no mercy in Brock Lesnar's return. This was not an appearance. This was a declaration, and in that shocking climax, it became clear, this wasn't just about Cena. This was about everything that has been boiling beneath WWE's surface since the bloodline began to fracture. Because if Brock Lesnar is back, it means the walls of the empire are shaking again. His presence has always been a weapon, a reminder that dominance is fleeting, and that power attracts destruction. Backstage whispers paint the picture even darker. Sources claim Lesnar has unfinished business not only with Cena but also with those tied to Roman Reigns. The bloodline saga may not have ended, it may have simply shifted its battleground. Others believe Lesnar returned because he sees weakness. He sees Roman without the same aura, he sees Cena vulnerable, he sees Logan Paul forcing his way into main events. Lesnar thrives on chaos, and chaos is exactly what Paris delivered. The emotional aftermath left scars. Cena was carried out with fans chanting his name, a hero broken in body but never in spirit. Logan Paul looked rattled, realizing he had stepped into a night bigger than even he could control. And Roman Reigns, watching from afar, must have felt the earth move beneath him. Because when Brock Lesnar resurfaces, it always points back to the tribal chief. It always reminds the world that the empire of the bloodline is never safe. The story that began as a simple main event ended as a reminder that wrestling is not just about victories, it is about survival. Families, legacies, and trust are always on the line, whether inside the ring or behind the curtain. Betrayal, broken trust, and blood. These are the foundations of WWE's greatest stories. And in Paris, Brock Lesnar reminded the world that no matter how far we move forward, the past will always come crashing back down. As the dust settles, fans are left to wonder, was this Lesnar's revenge, his warning, or the beginning of a darker chapter that will swallow Cena, Logan, and perhaps even the bloodline itself? In wrestling and in life, the deepest wounds come not from enemies, but from those who remind us of everything we've tried to escape. And that is why the night Brock Lesnar returned will never be forgotten. Because beyond the suplexes and the brutality, it spoke to something universal, the fragile bond between legacy and survival, and the way blood, once spilled, never truly washes away.